A very warm good morning. It is exactly 11 minutes past 11 a.m. East African time. And welcome to Around the Table show with me, Sasha Elizabeth. Thank you very much for making time for our literal work show that enlightens you more about the different books, different write-ups that are available in the market, especially the new ones or the reviewed editions. Just to keep you with knowledge, they say that books are a uniquely portable magic, and that's why we are really committed here at Capuchin TV to bring you these discourses. And today in studio, we will be looking at this book, A Culture of Care and Protection, New Challenges for Consecrated Life. I know that can raise eyebrows. Consecrated life and challenges. We're going to get to know that, and I'd like to introduce my guest who will be taking us through this discussion today. I'll start with Sister. Kindly introduce yourself, tell us what you do and which congregation you belong to.
Good morning, viewers. My name is Sister Brigita Samba Mawasi. I belong to the Sisters of St. Joseph of the Catholic Archdiocese of Mombasa. I am currently working in Rongai at the Secretariat of the Association of Consecrated Women of Eastern and Central Africa, that is ACWECA. I'm the current Secretary General of the association. Yes, ACWECA serves in 10 countries in Eastern and Central Africa, 10 English-speaking countries. So that's where I am at the moment.
Thank you very much, Sister Brigita, for making time for this discussion. We also have a priest, as usual. We strike a balance in our discussions and composition of our guests. Father, kindly introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. I'm Father Joachim Zundi, a Jesuit. I'm teaching currently systematic theology at Ekima University College. But beside that, I'm also working on child protection. I am a director of a center called GCSA. It's a Jesuit Center for Child Protection. And this is an opportunity for me to come and talk about this beautiful book. This is what I'm doing, actually.
Thank you, and feel very much welcome. We are glad that you are here with us today. All right, and we welcome you, to dear viewers, to contribute and participate in this discussion. Remember, we do this for you, so feel free to send your queries, your comments and messages. We are live on YouTube and, of course, our TV and Facebook. The book is A Culture of Protection and Care, New Challenges for Consecrated Life. And as usual, we know most of the books that we launch here usually have an author or authors or editors, but this is a special case. We're going to get to know that shortly. My name is Sasha Elizabeth. Use the hashtag Around the Table Show, hashtag Capuchin TV, hashtag Sasha Elizabeth. So on we start. Just to remind you, our number remains 0717 424 866. Send your feedback and we will be able to sample them as and when the time allows. So welcome once again, Father Joachim and Sister Brigita. So as to start with, let's try again to clarify the scope of A Culture of Protection and Care, New Challenges for Consecrated Life. We cannot see an author here, we only see the editors. Could you just tell us what is the nature of this book?
The book is precisely a collective writing on a topic. The topic is the protection of minors and vulnerable adults. And the interest of the book is due to the fact that for this burning issue, it was important for the Pontifical Commission for Protection for Minor to gather the best author on the area and publish something very relevant for the church nowadays. That's why this book is very, very interesting. So they have gathered specialized people on either psychology, either safeguarding, to come out with how the church can concretely deal with the issue of child protection today.
All right, so it focuses on the safeguarding the minors and the adults who are vulnerable. Thank you very much for that clarification, Father Joachim. So someone would wonder, before I get to Sister, consecrated life, people who live consecrated life are role models to others. So when we speak of new challenges for consecrated life, there are those who might perceive that maybe the religious are not susceptible to any forms of challenges, or specifically abusing children and those who are vulnerable, who really depend on them for a shoulder to lean on.
Okay.
So what nature of abuse, how does it manifest itself among the people living the consecrated life?
Okay, for some time ago, in the world there was a problem of abuse of children all over the world. And the church have come to realize that religious as well as priests, who are supposed to be the protectors of minors, some of them are abusing minors. Abuse is a huge matter. It's not only sexual abuse. There are emotional abuse, psychological abuse, physical abuse. When you cane children, and then neglect. You fail to come to the aid of the child. So priests and religious people trust on us, and nobody expects from us to be those who abuse children. That's why in 2019, Pope Francis called for a synod of the bishops about the topic. And this book comes to confirm what are the concrete elements we can do so that priests, religious, may deal really welcoming children, creating a safe place, environment for children to grow. Because if we wound these young, we are doing something seriously grave against the law of God. Jesus used to welcome children, and the church has to be a model in this sense. That's why this problem is serious.
Thank you, Father Joachim. Let me get back to Sister Brigitte. What is this? Who is this book written for? What is the target audience? Because now that we don't have a specific author, it's a collection of articles. So someone would wonder, who is this book written to?
Yes, the fact that it's collective authors, and the good thing there, it's edited by the UISG, Union of International Superiors General, and USG, Union of Superiors General, both the men and women religious at the highest level, that is in Rome. And first I would say it targets religious in general, but more so those in formation houses, because we have religious that are involved, people who are involved in formation of the young people. And formation could be in religious formation houses, but also we work in schools, in hospitals, in the society, and at all levels, religious men and women and priests are forming young people. So at the end of the day, it's everybody who is targeted, because even in families, parents also, if they can get hold of this book, they can read it, because it is it's non-discriminatory. It does not discriminate against anybody. So as I would say, for formators, those who are forming others, but everyone who actually takes part in the formation, including teachers, would really find this book very valuable.
Absolutely, because religious people work in different sectors of the economy. It is evident they have invested in every aspect of life. They are involved, and in these different sectors, I believe they work with people who are not even religious. That was my question, and thank you for addressing it. And I was wondering, including ourselves, you are working for Capuchin TV. Some of them are religious, part of the team, and others are the lay. So I think the message is clear that everyone out there who is working, or especially taking part in formation. So let me go back to Father Joachim. Tell us a little bit about the gist of the book, and how does it contribute to the fight against abuse of minors and the vulnerable people in society?
Thank you. I think that one of the articles point out the necessity to come out with a safe environment. And this is the key point of the book. What is a safe environment? A safe environment is a place, either information setup or in a parish setup, is a place where we set all conditions to make children safe, to make vulnerable people safe. And the book come out with concrete means to come out to that point. Preventing, writing protocols, being ready to denounce abuse. And abuse can be many kind of abuse, not only abuse of sexual abuse, physical, but abuse of power, abuse of conscience, spiritual abuse. So it's an awakening to tell us that we have to care for one another. And the church has to be a place where religious, who are people trusted by others, have to merit this trust in being people for the others. This is the point.
Okay. Thank you. Sister, why is it important for us to build a culture of care and protection, especially in religious houses?
Yeah, I think it's very important because of, again, what my colleague has said, cases that have come out, minors being abused, but also our society, there are things that we grow up socialized that we should not speak about. So we have cultures that probably deny expression of the young people. And these are people that are growing up, they're experimenting, they want to discover themselves. And so it's important for us to build this culture so that young people can grow in an environment where they feel they can be listened to, where they feel they are safe and they can genuinely express themselves. And this will help them grow into sensible and also mature, responsible adults. And if we build this environment, then they are able to grow into citizens who are responsible, who can be depended upon, and on their part, they can also be able to continue that kind of environment, building that culture. Yes.
Thank you very much, sister. So we acknowledge that these things really happen, that religious or formation houses are not immune to such kind of abuses.
Yeah, if you would ask me, probably I would say no, and many probably ask me, does it happen in your congregation? Probably I would say no, and many people would say no, because when we think of abuse, mostly we may only be thinking of sexual abuse. And sometimes if I have not seen it, if I've not experienced it, I may say that it doesn't happen. So probably we need really to go back and scrutinize what happens and look at probably the signs. Sometimes it's the signs that tell us that something may be happening which may be hidden. And again, when we look at our culture, sometimes the silence that prevents people from speaking out. So I would say it might, yes, because again, it's not only about sexual abuse. My colleague has already said that. But in formation houses, when we deny people the freedom to speak out, to express, sometimes maybe we are so strict on them, and so they close on themselves instead of opening up when they are in formation, then abuse may happen, and they may not be in a position to speak about it. Sometimes also it may be, verbal abuse. We may, I think it has happened. I've had probably young girls who are in the formation being abused. Why did you came here? Because of, people looking for reasons why this person came to the congregation. Maybe you didn't want, you came here to be lazy. Nobody goes into formation house to be lazy. They go because they have felt a vocation in them. But when you tell them they are running away from something, and then it can be ingrained in them, and that is an abuse that may force them to lock themselves in and not open up in the formation process. So I think that sexual abuse, yes, is one that can happen, and we've had cases, and also psychological abuse, physical abuse, maybe when someone, is literally beaten. It may not happen in formation houses, but there are extremes. Probably even the manual work you can give to an extreme that the person is so stressed and they cannot speak for themselves. It could happen. And then the people also in the formation have needs, and sometimes if we don't give them these, probably just the economy of the congregation may not have enough resources, but these young people have needs, and so if we don't give them those needs, then also that could be a form of abuse, but we may not look at it as such. Yes. And also spiritual, sometimes we may coerce people to speak, or probably someone you want to go to the confessor. What did this novice, what did this person confess? That is also a form of abuse, and it can scare people even in the formation, and they may not be in a position to grow through that process of formation, which is meant to help them grow.
Thank you, Sister Samba, for these practical examples in the formation house. These are things that happen, and some of them might be taken lightly, or might be so subtle to an extent that they are normalized. So they find it as normal, which in actual sense they are abuses. So let me go back to Father Joachim. This book propounds concrete ways of how priests and faithful, the action that they can take to handle the situation of abuse in the church. Could you please share with us some of these?
Thank you. In fact, the problem is not a mild one. It's a huge problem in our societies and in the church. That's why a synod was convoked for call for that. Now, this book helps us to come out with concrete steps to reverse the situation, to make the church a safe place for children and vulnerable people. First of all, denouncing clericalism. What is clericalism? Clericalism is the fact that it's not only priests, it's priests, religious, all those who have authority in the church, to believe that because I have a responsibility, you owe me a big respect that you cannot contradict whatever I say. The church is denouncing that because we are not appointed there to become powerful people, untouchable people. We have been appointed there to serve the church and to serve the little ones. This is one of the fight we have to do. So for a long time we believe that clericalism is regard only the priest. No, religious women and men, even lay people who have authority in the church can be clericalists when they believe that their power is make them close to God but untouchable for others. This is the wrong way. We are put there to serve. If we forget that, therefore we harm the team. And this links to the abuse. When we are so powerful, we consider others like nothing. And this is not what Jesus called us to do. Is to do like him. He was God, but he became man to serve us. All those who are working in the church are called to take Jesus as an example. Then the second point is to reform formation houses, the formation of priests, religious, men and women. Because the point is that we used to form the mind. And we believe that once the mind is formed, the person is able to handle his emotion and become mature and deal with the issues, emotional issues in the society. No. We neglected the emotional formation, the sexual and affective formation. And this book is recalling us to go back to that. It's a holistic formation so that a priest, a religious men and women, be a person trusted because she merits to be trusted. She's able to handle himself and lead others to find God. These are elements. We can add also create safe environment in the formation setup in parishes and so on. There are a lot of concrete elements that help to change the data. We come out with a culture of caring, a culture of healing. We listen to those who have been wounded by our bad actions, but trying to help them come out of the issue. So the book is a good contribution in this sense.
Thank you very much. So does this have to be included, the culture of safeguarding protection, does it have to be nurtured, especially to those who are starting their vocational journey, for them to grow while embracing it?
Exactly. It starts with the formators themselves. You know, as I was saying, the former formation was pointing out on the intellectual setup. Today, we come to realize that if we don't take care of the affectivity of the priests, women, or not, we will have problem, because there will be unbalanced situation and abuse will become possible. So, starting by the formators have to be mature spiritually, psychologically, affectively, so that they can form young people, men and women, to be mature, and so that to serve the people of God there. That's why the book points out the necessity of safe environment, safe self, safe community, and safe environment. It's very key.
Thank you very much, Father Joachim. My director tells me it is time to take a break, but we'll be right back with more discussion, more details about this book. Remember to keep it Capuchin TV. In a few minutes, we'll be back. Well done.
Capuchin TV, your Catholic broadcasting ministry.
Advent, beautiful, by the way, liturgical period of the year, preparation for Christmas. By the way, this year is one of the longest Advent periods, or the longest Advent period, because it is nearly exactly 5 weeks that we celebrate Advent, because 25th of December this year falls on a Sunday. So that gives us much time to prepare for the coming of Christ. Advent is in many ways also a time of reflection about preparing ourselves, not only in times preparing ourselves for the Christmas celebrations as such, but also in a spiritual way to prepare ourselves to deepen our faith in this God who becomes man, who is incarnated into our humanity, into our society. And that is a thing also maybe we all have to reflect upon once again. What does that mean concretely within the Kenyan society, and also within our own lives and into my own person? What does that incarnation of Christ exactly imply? Where is Christ present within my own personal life? Where does he reveal himself? Or maybe where should I make more space for him in my life? Maybe I belong to those people, as we hear in the Gospel of Luke, who says, well, you know, there's no place for you in the inn. There's no place for you here. Where is it in my own life where I feel there is no place for him, so that I make space for him, so that he can really be incarnated also in my life? That same question you have to ask yourself once again within your family, within your small community, Christian community, village where you live, and then also in the greater Kenyan society. Where do you feel where he lives? Where can you serve him better? Where do you feel that we need to give more space to him? Where are we afraid, so to say, to give him the space that pertains to him? And that would be, I think, a good exercise preparing for Christmas on the 25th of December this year.
Capuchin TV, kitambulisho Katoliki.
All right, welcome back, dear viewer. We are glad that you're still keeping us company and following. Thank you very much. I can see some feedback streaming in. I will sample some of them. And just to remind you, in case you are joining us for the first time, this is Around the Table show with me, Sasha Elizabeth, and we are launching the book, A Culture of Care and Protection, New Challenges for Consecrated Life, which is a collection of articles on how to safeguard minors and vulnerable people in the church and the society at large. With me in studio are our guest speakers, Sister Brigita Samba, who is the Secretary General for the Association of Consecrated Women in Eastern and Central Africa, abbreviated as AQUECA. And I also have Father Joachim Zondi, a lecturer of theology at Hekima University College. So welcome, and we proceed with our second session of this launch. We have Kate Christopher saying, keep up the good work. Thank you, Kate, for keeping it Capuchin. We have Edna Mwango. Thank you, Edna, for watching. Tishina says tuned in. Thank you, Tishina, for watching. And you have Teresa Kemonto and John Lepere, who is watching us from Naivasha. Thank you very much for your feedback. You can send or direct your questions and comments on our number 0717-424-866. So we proceed, and remember, as it is the tradition, this is the session that we are going to display and set forth this book to the Kenyan market. But before that, we'll get to know, is it relevant to the African context? So let me go back now to system. We had some of the challenges, some of the manifestations of abuses in information houses or religious houses. So what are some of the challenges encountered in the process of safeguarding the young and vulnerable information houses?
Yes, again, going back to that culture of silence, that would be one of the biggest challenges, because again, people who got into formation houses, into seminaries, come from the society, and in the society,
It's all right.
Yes, because one it's the culture of silence that maybe is encouraged by the culture that we have in the society. And many of those people who join religious houses or seminaries come from the society. And you find their practices and beliefs that prevent them from speaking out, especially when on issues of sexual abuse. So there sometimes there's a stigma that goes around that, because sometimes abuse that is of sexual nature is very intimate, and people feel, I'm immoral, and so they wouldn't want, or I would be judged by other people. And many times we judge these people, sometimes not knowing they are victims. And I have seen cases not only in religious circles, but also in the society, people who go to report even to police stations, probably rape cases, and the police themselves, who should be safeguarding these people or protecting them, say, you wanted it, you took yourself there. So for a person in the religious house who comes from that background would feel like, if I speak, then I may be judged, there will be misconception about me, and people would, give me an identity that is not truly mine. So that would be a big challenge. And also in religious circles, again, we have talked about forming people more academic than the integral human person. So someone thinks here, they are putting it in their minds, but not in their hearts. So we need to really form that. The challenge is the human formation. This person has not really been formed and is not aware sometimes also whether this is an abuse. So we need also to create that awareness for people to know that I can speak and I can be able to share what I'm going through. And because abusers mostly know that people would keep quiet, sometimes they may threaten the victims, and so it becomes a real challenge to deal with these kinds of abuses. And also, because someone think I must become a religious, so I may not speak about this. Maybe if I speak, I may be taken away from the seminary, I may be taken away from the religious formation house, and so it becomes a challenge. And also formators who may not have been prepared well enough to be able to deal with these challenges. Again, you may find even the generational gap between the formees, those who are being formed, and the formator. And if the formator has not been prepared or formed in a way that they can actually journey or accompany these young people to speak, then that also becomes a challenge. And these young people, again, the society in which they are growing, they mingle with a lot of issues, say the technology, and they sometimes we say they know more than the formaters, and they are getting, and the formaters may not understand the environment, the virtual environment these people are dealing with. They may not even have a Facebook account probably, and this is a huge challenge. So I think there are many challenges that come in the formation houses and in the society that may kind of affect the creation of a safe environment.
And does the book give ways through which these challenges can be mitigated?
Yes, and the book is very practical. The book looks at is very wide. It looks at the abuses and the subtle nature of some of these abuses, and also it comes up with practical ways of dealing with them. And also it kind of challenges, religious formators and all those dealing with the young people to really look for ways in which, ways like said affective, creating awareness, educating the people, building the whole person, helping the young people who are coming from school to understand themselves, so that know their personalities and how they can relate with one another within the communities, and also to relate with the young and with the older, with their formators, and even out there. So this helps build actually the personality of the people and the confidence with which to work within that environment in the formation house and outside. So there are lots of good things in this book, and I think each person needs to get a copy so that they can be able to really get what is there.
Thank you very much, Sister Samba. Now, Father, what do the Commission for the Jesuits Conference of Africa and Madagascar do in as far as safeguarding is concerned, and what do you think is the contribution of this book to your work?
Thank you very much. From 2016, the Jesuit Commission have established a commission on the issue, the protection of children. We started making, going for meetings out in Rome first in 2016, in Budapest, Hungary in 2017. Then we come out with a group who receive formation about the issue. And then this group become the formator setup for many things. We perform for each province. We have 7 provinces in all Africa. We form groups to form others in schools, parishes, in our workplaces. And this came to be widened by the Synod of the Bishops in 2019 by Pope Francis. And actually we have a center for child protection, and this center offers formation certificates for people to be able to lead religious communities, all human being setups, to help us perceive that abuse is real, and we can come out of that in taking good disposition to take the child as somebody who needs to develop and give him the good condition to develop. That all those information has to face really their own issues, come out with the growth so that they may be fit for the mission. If we don't do that, there's no way we can change the situation. So what we Jesuits we are doing this to help also dioceses and all people of new goodwill who will to be formed on the matter.
Thank you, and congratulations upon that commendable work that you are doing. I hope others get to borrow and live, and many people get to benefit from that. So how relevant is this book to the African context? Because we are just about to unveil it and set it forth for people to buy. And the issue of relevance now comes in handy. Could you please tell us how relevant is it, especially in the safeguarding matters?
The book is very relevant to African setup for religious and lay people because it addresses a human problem. And in some cultures in Africa, we are not aware that children has to be handled with a lot of care, but at the same time helping with a discipline that doesn't hurt them. But at the same time, in our cultures, there's a lot of generosity, there's a lot of communality, and this is a good supportive that starting point. We are in the Center of Safeguarding, the Jesuit Center of Safeguarding. We have started this year to go for a field research on how cultures in Kenya are dealing with the issues of raising children, to see what are the best ways of doing it, but what are the less recommendable things we need to address. But it is an opportunity for us also to show to the world that in Africa there is not only abuses, but there are also good ways, because Africa is, in a way, is a culture of humanity, where we have something to share. And this book comes to help us to see that we need to be more generous, coming with the best of ourselves, to show to the world that we can be better, we can form better humanity for tomorrow. And in this sense, the book is an help, is an eye-opener to help us to see that we don't have to just observe, we have to get committed and to shift, to make a change in the world.
Thank you very much. And there is one question, and as I ask these questions, I would also like to invite Sister Olga Masango from Daughters of St. Paul. She'll tell us how and how much the book costs, how you can get to have your own copy as we launch this book officially. But there is a question that I would like both father and sister to respond to. There has been cases of the people who are undergoing formation, perhaps they're going through some form of abuse, as we say, it takes different forms. And then the people, the perpetrators of this abuse, threaten their continuity or sabotage their efforts, especially in the diocese or in the congregation. So how would you advise them, speak to them and tell them if there is a specific article that you recommend from this book that would help them on the best approaches to take so that they don't have to quit their vocational call because of that? I'll start with sister.
Yes, I may not quote a specific article, but just to let them understand that formation is very critical for us to have, good religious and even people in the society. But I would also want them to understand that formation is a formation. I would also like them to understand that formation is a kind of a corporal responsibility. It's not only the formator who journeys on a daily basis with the young people that is responsible. The formator has been placed there probably by their congregation, and so I think there should be a way that these young people in the formation house can get access maybe to the superior of the congregation or to someone in the general council where they can, without fear that of what the formator may say, so that in case such a thing happens and they cannot really because the abuser is with them, then they can have another place where they can air their grievances. And I think each congregation or seminary needs to build this, because these are the kind of the protocols that they need so that they can know, yes, in case something happens to me, I don't have to keep it to myself. But if we don't have that kind of avenue, then these people may continue to suffer in silence, and when they eventually either get ordained or profess, they may also become, perpetrators, because always there is this cycle. Once abused, someone may also, have it in them, like in schools where we see bullies becoming, those who have been bullied, victims of bullying, becoming bullies themselves. So we have, the whole congregation has to take formation as a responsibility of all the members, so that they just have to keep their eyes and minds and hearts open, because again, formation and safeguarding the minors or the young and vulnerable is also part of the gospel message, so that it's actually what we are doing, because if we go out of that, then we risk losing our mission and the focus of formation, and so it will be very dangerous, and we will discover that when it is too late, and by that time people will not really have confidence in congregations, in priesthood, in so people will say, no, these abuses happen there, because there may be very few people who commit these crimes, but the effect, it affects the whole congregation, the whole priesthood, the whole church.
Thank you very much, Sister Samba. To you, Father Joachim.
Thank you. I would say that, first of all, the abusers in the church is 1%, but they are doing more harm than the 99%. So in the formation setup, for a young person who have been abused, today the church provides places to denounce that. From the Synod of 2019-2020, the Pope have requested all the dioceses to set in place places to listen to all who have complained about that. So today is lack of information that people who have been abused cannot go to tell what has happened. So we advise people to go to their diocese and to ask for centers where they can deposit their complaint. Today, these are no more cover up about the sexual issues. And then formators have to upgrade their formation. If somebody, a religious priest or not, you hide something, you can be sent out of your religious life, even priesthood. So it's not a joke.
So there are those who hide, or rather cover up the stories out of fear of the image, tarnishing the image of the congregation or the diocese or the institution that is involved.
Again, this point is over. The Pope have requested that we don't protect institution anymore. There is an apostolic letter, Vos Estis Lux Mundi, you are the light of the world. It's addressed this problem. There's no more cover-up, either for priests or religious. Everybody has to respond to the issue.
Thank you very much.
It is clear.
No more cover-up. The message is quite direct and clear. So I welcome Sister Olga Masango, and at this point you're going to display these copies, and I will invite Sister Samba to say something about the book and launch it out for everyone to be able to get access to it.
Okay. So this is a culture of care and protection, new challenges for consecrated life. And these are real challenges because whatever is happening in the society is also brought into the religious life or our seminaries, because we are forming the same people in the society. And so I would like to encourage each and every formator, superior general, sister, priest, bishop to buy their copy and to ensure that they go through it, and even teachers in schools. If you can get hold of a copy of this book, get it. You'll get in it a lot of wealth and ways in which you can actually be part of the safeguarding culture. So you and I together, we can really build this culture of protection. We shouldn't wait for the bishops or for Rome to tell us. The Pope is talking about it and he's very passionate about it, but protection or care for the minors begins with you and me. So let's be responsible adults. Let's be in a position to safeguard our minors, and I'm sure God will help us and we'll have the best society ever. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sister Samba Brigita, and I'll welcome Sister Olga Masango right now to tell us where can you get your own copy. Remember, we cater for everyone's needs. There are those, especially the other gender, that really doesn't like walking around with hard copies unless they are lecturers like Father Joachim here. So there is also a way you are catered for. So sister, tell us, how can one get a copy and how much does it cost?
Yes, I am very happy in the name of Pauline's Publications Africa to present you this book. As it was said here, etiquetas for a human need. And it goes just for 600, a culture of care, protection, new challenges for consecrated life. And you can find it in Catholic bookshop, in Holy Family Basilica. We can find it in the Pauline's Communication Center in Westland. We can find it just here nearby in Jequat, near Jequat, Gabriela House, Pauline's Books and Media in Gabriela House. And also we can find the book, because we already dispatched many copies in many African countries where we are, in Zambia, Tanzania, Uganda, and in Nigeria, Ghana. You can find it there in our book centers. But also you can purchase a book through Pauline's Publications website, that is www.paulinesafrica.org or shop.paulinesafrica.org. And thank you very much.
And congratulations on behalf of the entire team at Pauline's Publications Africa for the great work that you have fixed towards making sure that this book is the way it is, and it has penetrated borders to reach people from far. Great, so I thank you very much, dear viewer. You know how you can get your own copy. Remember, just to remind you that Pope Francis, His Holiness himself, raised an alarm and had to update the canon law to address pedophilia by priests. So this tells you how much the church, how much importance or value they place at safeguarding the minors and those who are vulnerable in the society. So enough of our ranting here and explanations, which we believe that you've gleaned what you need to. If you need details about the different articles that are enshrined in this book, you can get your copy, a soft copy, or a hard book. I'd like to thank my guest speakers today, Father Joachim Zondi, thank you very much, and Sister Samba Brigita, thank you for creating time and for your wise counsel and guidance about this book, A Culture of Protection, of Care and Protection, New Challenges for Consecrated Life. So at this point, allow me to wrap up this book launch, and it only, if my camera person will allow me to stand so that we can wrap this up in style. And the book, Protection of the Culture for Care and Protection and New Challenges for Consecrated Lives, focuses on protection of minors and vulnerable persons, and it highlights that as an integral part of the gospel message that every believer in Christ needs to promote. And in as far as it is geared or maybe addressed mostly to the people who are living consecrated lives, remember, safeguarding or protecting minors and the vulnerable is not just a responsibility of the religious people. We are all called to play our parts in different aspects of life to making sure that we are the safe haven for these people. We offer the rightful shoulder for them to lean on, so we should not just leave that. And we should also be on the lookout for these minor forms of abuses that are manifested in our religious formation houses. I'd like to thank my team, that is the camera person, Felix Juma. Thank you very much for your efforts. Manning 4 cameras at the same time concurrently isn't an easy task. And I would also like to thank our sound engineer there, DJ Fredox, or call him Frederick Ochieng. Thank you very much. Our visual mixer was Christabel Bawia, directed or guided by Kevin Kitavi, who is also manning the transmission desk. Thank you also, Sister Teresa Carrara, for your contribution towards preparing this discourse, live discourse. I'd also like to thank the team. Of course, I've sent gratitudes to the Paul Lines Publications Africa, Sister Olga Masango, and she's here with Willie Mutuku, who is also the reason why we have these posters back here, the setup. Thank you all who contributed in one way or another, directly or indirectly, towards making sure that this is successful. And as we wrap up, I'd like to leave you with this message that whenever you read a book, a good book that is somewhere in the world, a door opens to allow in more light. This is by Vera Nazarian. So the more you read, the more doors open for more light. So focus on safeguarding children and the vulnerable. My name is Sasha Elizabeth. I wish you a great week and be safe wherever you are. I believe it is the festive season mode, but be prayerful and focus on protecting and safeguarding others. Goodbye.
Capuchin TV, your Catholic broadcasting ministry.